Anyway, there's the culprit right there. Because of him, I had to build this greenhouse. Right now, the greenhouse is pretty much finished. I've still got some stuff to pick up. We need to clean up all the mess that we had stacked up out here. What I've been doing the past couple days is I got a Y fitting and put on the spigot here, and this spigot always leaked. So I fixed the spigot and got it wide open. Then I've got the Y valve to control water to the hose for the yard and the hose for this hose, which was an old hose I had that had already been cut. And it's so hot down here today that I had to roll up the back flap of the greenhouse and keep the door propped open. So I'm trying to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't come in here and attack these greens that I planted. I know he likes young greens. I've given him young greens. But at any rate, it was very hot in here earlier when I came in here to start working, and it was just too rough. So I had to roll up the back flap. I got it clamped open, and I've just got the door open. I guess I'm going to have to get some of the rabbit fencing and some eyes or something, screw eyes, and just mount a piece of it to where I can swing it shut if I need to leave the door open for temperature reasons. It's probably be January before we have a freeze down here. But at any rate, this is what I've been working on. I didn't know if I had done a video of this, but I've got the water hose comes in the back, and the connector I had here was leaking, so I had to redo it. But then it's on a barb fitting that goes into a T. The T goes to this ball joint. Now this ball valve controls water for this pipe. Now you're saying there's plastic right underneath it. Well, that's because here's the hole I cut in the top of my tank, or my sump, to put the pump down in it is right there. I can swing, I didn't glue this fitting, so I can just swing it over and turn the water on, and straight down in it goes. Of course, I'll have to add chemical to it to stop the chlorine, or to remove chlorine. But then I set it here because I can take this pipe out and put a 5-gallon bucket underneath there in case I need water for rinsing dirt off the roots, or something to go in the grow beds, or for whatever reason, or if I wanted to measure it out by 5-gallon increments before dumping it in and pre-adding the chlorine neutralizer. But from there it goes to a 1-inch water line out of that T that swings around underneath the channel system there, and that romaine's looking good too. Over, back out to clear everything, and then up. And right here I went to PEX. Now I could have gone to the 1/2-inch irrigation style tubing. I didn't want to have to buy it. I already had some PEX. As a matter of fact, I've got some of it still left just outside the door there. Of course, I made a mistake there and had to splice it. But so I went to the PEX, and then I just took, since the punch wouldn't work because this is a thicker material than the irrigation, I actually drilled holes, and I put these 180-degree fan sprayers in. Now, I don't even know how many of them I have down through here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 of them. I've got them spaced about every 3 feet, which should be just fine. They're supposed to put out up to a 4 to 5 foot radius. So I already had it on. If you can see all the little droplets of water on those seedlings, and on that, what is that, cabbage? Yeah, right there. So I was really happy with it. All I have to do is barely crack the ball valve, because you don't need a full load of pressure on these. And then I can adjust it just to get that fine mist out far enough to clear everything. Now there are a few drips because of the way the spray hits this backboard or hits the PEX line, but I'm not worried about those few drips. I'll just make sure I don't have a plant directly under the drips, and that I keep it from washing out. Eventually I'll probably just put some wood chips in the areas where I have drips if they're an issue. But with this, Now instead of having to drag a hose in and tie the door shut on the hose and walk back and forth dragging a hose where it could hit one of the plants and damage it or whatever, I can just come in, turn a little valve, and just wait until everything's nicely saturated and turn it off. And right now it doesn't look like much of a mist, but if you can see, it's gotten all the way over to within a foot of the grow beds, or about 14 inches of the grow beds is being saturated. Now these wood chips here are about 6 inches deep, so if these get soaked up, they're going to hold a lot of moisture to go back into the soil around the plants. So I think I'm going to be very happy with this system. It's a heck of a lot easier than walking back and forth with a hose trying to get everything saturated. I can just turn it on. It's a real fine mist, except for the few drips that are hitting down heavy. Once the plants get some size on them, those drips won't be an issue anyway. So like I said, I can just leave this going until everything's nice and saturated. It's just a fine mist, so it's soaking in fairly quickly. Once it starts standing on the surface, I'll go ahead and shut things down. And like I said, it's a lot easier to stand here and let it do that.